Welcome to the Liberating River, where spiritual freedom meets soul aligned wealth. I'm Wanda.
And that brings us here. That brings us here. Many people never consciously choose their identity. Identity is inherited. How? Well, they inherited what to value, what to fear, what to pursue, what to avoid, how to speak, how to stay quiet, how to handle money, how to handle conflict, what love looks like, what success looks like, what spirituality looks like, what is possible. And then life is built inside that inheritance box. But remember, inheritance is not the same as destiny. Inheritance is material. Are you following me? Inheritance is material, right? So that means it is information, it is history, a pattern, data. It is not automatically destiny. What you inherited may explain you, but it does not have to define you. That is where agency, ownership begins. And agency is powerful because it does not deny what happened. It does not pretend the past did not shape you. It does not shame you for adapting. It does not say, just get over it. No, 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 no. Agency says, I can see what shaped me and I can choose what continues to shape me. I can honor where I came from without handing it the authority to decide where I am going. I can understand my conditioning without obeying it forever. I can be compassionate toward my survival, right? My survival skills, my surviving, while making room for my authentic self. That is liberation. Not the kind of liberation that is reckless, not the kind that says burn everything down. No. Not the kind that requires contempt, but the kind of liberation that says I am allowed to become conscious. That may be one of the most powerful sentences you can give yourself. I am allowed to become conscious because unconscious identity runs on autopilot. It repeats, it reacts, it performs, it avoids, it obeys old rules without realizing they are old. Conscious identity pauses. And you know what it does? It asks, it chooses, it discerns, it integrates, it matures. It says, wait, is this mine? That question alone can change your life. Is this mine? What do I mean? What do you mean? You might be asking, okay, is this fear mine? Is this dream mine? Is this shame mine? Is this belief mine? Is this pace that I'm moving mine? Is this definition of success mine? Is this relationship pattern mine? Do I really like this? Is this financial ceiling mine? Or did I inherit this? Is this version of spirituality mine? It was okay as a foundation, but I think there's more to this. Is this silence mine? Is this self doubt mine? Or did I inherit it from people, systems, and environments that were also trying to survive? Did you ever stop and think about that? For generations, everybody had been trying to survive. So are you holding on to somebody else's survival notes in which you don't need them anymore? Sure, there might have been a springboard, but you don't need it as your source. You don't need it to continue to nourish how you move about in your life. Because what that means is that you personalized inherited patterns. You did. You personalized somebody else's survival mode. That's what you did. And you know how it comes out? It comes out when you say, I'm just bad with money. Nobody in my family ever achieved that. I think that's financial fear. Or I'm just not that confident. Did you ever think about maybe you inherited the environment that visibility felt unsafe? What about this one? I'm just not creative. Maybe you were never allowed to explore your creativity without criticism. That's why I wish, honest, and this is, I, that's why I wish they would bring back certain aspects of the old structure of school. Because when I was growing up, we were allowed to dream. We had home ec, we had wood shop, we had technology classes, we had all those things that allowed us to dream. And we didn't feel criticized. We didn't feel like, oh, that's so foreign. No, we were able to explore different creative ventures that helped our self-esteem. So some people learned how to sew, they learned how to cook, they learned how to put together a car because we had automotive shop as well. Some people learned how to deal with electricity. They learned different things in school. And I'm talking about grade school, junior high, high school. But nowadays, because certain things was removed, that creative side of us that we were born with, because God was a creator, we are creators. So we want to explore that side. But now we're criticized for that exploring. So people, when somebody says, I want to go into the arts, "Uh, will you make money there? Is that worthwhile?" We've removed some things that actually helped us develop our identity. And that's why now, when people say I'm not creative, I don't think it's because they're not creative. It's because it has been boxed. And since the majority of people are not creative and tapped into that creative side of us, we feel criticized. And we are criticized, but it's okay to create. And then what about this? I'm just not disciplined enough. I'm just not disciplined. Maybe it's your nervous system that's exhausted from decades of overfunctioning because we took that on too. Oh, we strapped that backpack on. We were so disciplined and we gotta drive and drive and drive. Your nervous system is crashing from overexhaustion and overfunctioning. You can't keep revving a car up on high. You just can't because something is going to happen. Either that engine going to blow or something else is going to happen. You can't. So you've been over functioning when you felt like this was being disciplined. These statements reframes everything about us. And you know what? I'm going to tell you this. Shame closes doors. It does. We feel shamed. We feel shamed if we want to go and detour and do something different. We feel shame and it closes doors. But the good news is curiosity, hope, it opens doors. So instead of saying, what's wrong with me? Why don't you ask, what box did I inherit? Instead of, why can't I just be happy? Can I be happy here in this situation? Blah, blah, blah. Why not ask, where am I asking my soul to live too small? Instead of asking, why am I restless? Why don't you ask, what part of me is trying to emerge? Maybe you trying to be that butterfly and come out that cocoon. Instead of, why do I keep repeating this pattern? Stop doing that. Say, what did the pattern protect me from? Because maybe at one point it was protection. Changing how you address your situation and doing it more compassionately is the only way you're going to grow. The only way. Compassion matters so much. You have to be gentle with yourself. Because the truth of the matter is, many of us can't heal. We can't heal from ourselves, not from those inherited boxes. Why? Because they are too busy hating the self that lived inside of it. You're too busy hating that person. That is why compassion is so vitally important to your growth. Compassion matters so much because you can't heal if you're not gentle with yourself. You can't heal beyond those inherited boxes. And you want to know why? Because if you're not compassionate, because if you're not compassionate with yourself, you'll be too busy hating on the old self that lived inside that box, that old version of you. And the truth of the matter is that old version of you deserves tenderness. That version of you did what it had to do. That version of you learned the rules. That version of you survived the environment. That version of you kept you going and is keeping you going. That version of you carried things. That version of you adapted, and that version of you deserves respect. But hear me, respect does not mean permanent residence. You can thank that survival entity within without letting it drive the rest of your life. You can say thank you. Say thank you. Say thank you for protecting me. Thank you for keeping me safe. Thank you for helping me belong. Thank you for getting me through all those seasons. But now I am allowed to become more. That is sacred. That is powerful. That is key. And that is the beginning of conscious identity. So, what's the truth about all the boxes, all these boxes? Every box has a cost. Every box has a cost. The box may cost you joy, it might cost you creativity, definitely cost you peace, cost you intimacy, cost you courage, cost you money, whew, cost you rest, cost you visibility, cost you your purpose, cost you the ability to receive. Because some people don't know how to receive. I know I didn't. I'm still working on that. It can even cost you the ability to tell the truth because you're trying to save somebody else's feelings. And one of the deepest costs of an inherited identity is that you may build an entire life around being acceptable, but never fully known. And that peace, that place is lonely. Did you hear that? To Can you imagine being praised but still feeling lonely, unknown, unseen? Because it's been at the cost of other people being excited, but has nothing to do about your excitement for yourself. You know, it's 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 a difference between feeling needed and not being nourished, from being successful but not fulfilled, for being responsible but not free, being spiritual but not whole, being loved for the role, for the title, but unseen in your truth. That kind of loneliness can exist even when people are around you because the real you is not present. The performed you is. And the performed you may be excellent, may be getting things done, may be admired, may be dependable. It may keep the peace, but the performed you cannot experience full intimacy because intimacy requires truth. Stay tuned. To be continued. Coming next week.